Yeah, man. It was a great weekend. Excellent weekend.
Hey there, Ramble Force. Welcome to another episode of the Digital Ramble. I'm Chris Gamble from the UK, joined as always by my host in Houston, JJ Cannon.
What's happening, Mr. Gamble and all of our Ramble Force fans? How are y'all? And how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I just made it in time. I seem to be always running at the last minute on a Monday. We've been doing this for 30 episodes now. This is our 30th episode now. I still have a rush to get to wherever I am in the world.
I'm sitting here in the booth like this, man. I hope I'm glistening a little bit. I'm glistening.
Fire in the booth, yeah.
Fire in the booth. No, man. How'd you do? Did you have a good weekend?
Weekend was awesome, yeah. Today there's a few pain points for me. Wi-Fi just not behaving the way it should, but really to do with the construction of this building we were working in today, and it just needs a back to the drawing board kind of moment. So in my head I'm still running through that job that we'll get that sorted out by end of play this week.
You know, network is crucial to any smart home solution. I had a client with some pain this weekend as well. And at their house, man, they have like over 120 plus devices on this network. Oh, that's a lot of management going on. That's not normal. Not normal. So
no, that isn't. It might be in 10 years' time. It was one of the hot topics of this event I was at in London this last week, and the amount of devices that are going to be connected to the internet soon.
Yeah, you know what? We weren't planning on it, but come on, talk to me. Talk to us. Tell us about this big deal that you did this past week, because this is a big deal, Gamble, and I want to highlight that. I want people to know. Tell me about it.
Okay, so in London on Thursday, 4th of July, there was an event hosted by British Telecom, so Europe's biggest tech company. And they have a quite iconic building in the centre of London called the BT Tower. It's one of the tallest structures in the city. And they had an event for construction professionals and primarily construction business owners. So 20 of the UK's biggest construction firms sent representatives there to be educated and brought up to speed with advances with the new 5G service that's being launched or has been launched now in the UK with BT and their partners at EE. They also talked about IoT and how that's going to shape and have a big impact on the construction industry. And then they covered a section on smart home. And I was lucky enough to be brought in by BT to present an overview of smart home in the past, the present, and in the future. And it was a great opportunity to speak to people from the construction industry, because it can be hard to get in front of. So I did a good job of, giving them confidence about smart home in the future. And that's what it was all about. It was about, yes, recognizing where there's been failings, where there's been mistakes, but together, the smart home service providers like ourselves and obviously big brands that make smart home products, will work better, if we all work together with the construction industry.
That's great, man. That's great. And BT, they were lucky to have you, because you're a man that knows. You are a man that knows. So that's awesome, brother. Yeah, we had a great week too. The whole country celebrated, our independence, as well as my birthday. I turned 45 this past week, and I grew an extra gray hair, last week, and things over at the shop are going great too. We got a great team, got a lot of fantastic clients that are starting to understand what smart home is all about. You and I, we were kind of batting it back and forth this past week about how smart home to us, we talk about it all the time. It's like it seems like everybody knows smart home, and in reality, Gamble, smart home is just in its infancy of really starting to be embraced and understood, amongst a broader community. So super excited to be doing this with you on a regular.
Yeah, and I think season 5 coming up, I think we'll do a deeper dive into, what were the outcomes from this conference that I took part in. I think we should dive into that, and I'll share with you some of the things I brought up in the presentation, and maybe it will spark wider discussion within our followers and Facebook groups and listeners and viewers, and maybe we can have a future of the smart home industry, state of the industry kind of discussion.
All right. Well, before we get into next season and next episode, let's get into this season, season 4, episode 30. And I have a dumb smart home question. Please don't laugh. Part 5. Are you ready to get in it?
Let's go.
Let's do it, Mike. All right, brother. I'm going to start us out with this first question here. I get this a lot, and it's this one's from Teresa, the housekeeper. We're in a lot of homes, and I remember Teresa. She's like, "Mijo, there's smudges on the TV. How can I clean the TV?" Like, Miss Teresa, it's very simple. You need to use a microfiber cloth. The same kind of cloth that you would for glasses, and actually, we have a lot of these extra microfiber cloths that we leave behind for clients. And with a little bit of moisture, not like water, but more of like just moisture from breathing, is all the moisture you need. You don't want to spray anything on there like a Windex or anything like that. But you want a little bit of moisture, and then you kind of rub. For us, we rub in little circles, right where that smudge might be. And then, of course, we demonstrated to Miss Teresa and showed her exactly how to do it. But she was very appreciative because, there's little kids around, and, sometimes things might get splashed up on the screen, or little fingers, tacky fingers might get up on there. And when the television, particularly when the television's off, the smudges just, are amplified. And, it was her job to keep the house clean, and she wanted to also be able to clean some of the tech, in the house. And that television sometimes is a tough one because people really feel like it's a delicate thing to try to keep clean.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the tech in the home, it does attract dust. It's stuff that's running hot, and it's attracting any dust in the air. So keep your tech cleaned regularly. And actually, I've got a stockpile of these microfiber cloths because they come with one in the box with this Sonos sub.
Dude, yeah.
I've got like a stack of them.
Yeah.
And, you need them. You need them to keep your things looking good. And even a clean of your screen can make a difference to the picture quality. I've always said that to people. How to improve my picture quality? Give it a clean first.
Yeah, give it a good swabbing.
So we started with a bit of housekeeping, but now we're into a little bit of fault finding. We've had a question from Shelley Noon, who has listened to the show for a number of years, a number of episodes. I've seen her tune in a lot, and she's asked a question. I can hear audio, but I don't see an image. So I'm assuming she's in front of her TV. She's maybe had this problem in the past, and she's maybe not sure how she's fixed it, but it sounds like, there's maybe an amplifier involved here. Maybe an AV receiver could be involved.
Possibly. There's a couple of things that could go wrong with it. One of the things, and we get this call a lot in the office also, and usually it's a third-party component like a cable box and maybe some HDMI conflict, and usually a real simple power cycle we find resolves the problem. Unplug the cable box, plug it back in, give it a couple of minutes, and let's see what happens. Is one of the probably the top reasons that you would get a blank screen. Also, we might find like a kid might or dad might sit on the remote or something like that and change the input on the TV, and when it's supposed to be on HDMI input 1, it might be on HDMI 3 or something along those lines, and you just need to understand what button to push on the remote in order to get it back over to the appropriate input. It's always like a eureka moment, like, oh, it's working.
Yeah,
it's working.
I find a lot that it's the TV's on the wrong input, and for me, I can't wait till we're in an era where there's no inputs to the TV. everything's just an app through some smart portal or smart interface where you're just toggling between Netflix and Prime and iPlayer and Hulu
Yeah.
and and streaming TV and services. And we're moving towards this era of input zero. And again, I'm thinking of content for other episodes. I'd love to talk about input zero, where the TV, because this week and last week, I've already noticed we installed a lot of Samsung TVs. They're now down to just two HDMI inputs from four, three, now down to two. That's limited inputs to your screen.
And I remember, several years ago, our good buddy Bruno Napoli telling us about input zero. And I'm like,
Mm.
no, bro, they're always going to have inputs. And man, Gaffa man, he's
Yeah.
ahead of, he's over the horizon. He can see, down the road, quite a bit. And yeah, input zero, no doubt about it. So, and as well as things like CEC, and we use Logitech remotes also to help reduce that challenge of being on the wrong input whenever you have a lot of devices in the system. So just throwing that out there.
Okay, next up.
Yeah, we got Vanessa from New Jersey. My cell mobile phone signal is so weak in my house. How can I boost this? Y'all got this problem over there, Gamble?
Oh man, so many households I visit, the mobile phone is lives on the windowsill, so that they can get the signal from their cellular provider,
Oh yeah.
and they're frustrated that they're missing calls, they're missing messages, and they're not getting updates. And in a lot of cases, without even installing any equipment, I always say to customers, have you turned on Wi-Fi calling?
Yeah.
A lot of my customers have got an iPhone, and I'll go into settings, phone, look for the feature called Wi-Fi calling, enable that, and immediately through their Wi-Fi, they'll be able to make and receive their calls, send and receive their messages, and be reconnected with their network. So, as a quick fix, easy fix, because if you enable Wi-Fi calling, that's not just in your home. That's anywhere where you're connected to Wi-Fi. You can route your calls over and your messages through the Wi-Fi data rather than your cellular data.
Yeah.
But there are solutions, JJ, where you can install equipment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to get into that?
I think there's just highlight it because I know we're gonna bring this up
I,
and
I
follow.
what I was going to say is that just up. I mean, it's kind of new technology, and I think it really has to do with the airwaves and being able to retransmit that cellular signal inside the house. And there's some very reliable solutions that are on the market that a home technology professional can really guide you in the right direction on how to accomplish good Wi-Fi signal in the house. But I remember just up until about a couple of years ago, I'd always come into a client's house and they'd have the human antenna going on. You know what I'm talking about? Like they had the
Yeah.
phone, and they'll be like, I don't know if I don't. They'll be like standing and like one leg up, and you got one arm up, and I don't know. I probably was off mic there, Mike. So, we didn't test that one, but they got that human antenna thing going on, like stand on one foot, hold one hand, that kind of thing. So it's great that there is actually technology that's reliable and works in clients' homes. And so, yeah, we'll get into it. Man, we got a lot of episodes coming up. No doubt. We got a lot of good stuff coming up. Excited.
Okay.
James,
Yeah.
James hit us up on Instagram, and he said, "How do I choose the right internet service provider?" Oh my gosh. Dun dun dun.
Here in the UK, we do have a lot of suggestion websites for cheapest car insurance, best insurance company for your home, and there's also one for internet. And you can go on there, type in your postcode or even your telephone number, and it will give you all the providers available, what the average speed might be in the area, what they might give you speeds up to. They'll claim to give you 70, 100, 200, whatever they might give you on a download speed, and they'll give you the price. So some kind of comparison website is a good place. I always like to ask neighbors if I can. Like, how's your internet? Is it fast? In fact, I do that a lot when I'm fault finding. I'll go to somebody's house and they'll say my internet's so slow, and then I'll walk out the house and knock on the house next door and say, "Is your internet slow? Can I?" Just to give me a kind of benchmark what's happening in the locality. But once you've got those provider options in front of you, just go for the fastest. Don't mess around with, oh, that's good price, but it's slower. Look, fast wins. You want your content delivered as quick as possible these days.
Yeah, one of our biggest challenges here in Texas, at least, is rural areas, and using satellite and getting good quality internet service for different areas, and that's been one of our biggest challenges. My parents, they live out at a farm, and man, trying to get some good reliable speeds is sometimes challenging, because back in the day, I think internet providers bought blocks of area that they own, and you can't just have any internet service provider in that area. You have to go with whoever owns that spectrum or area, which kind of sucks, man. I hate that. That's a bummer. But yeah, ask the neighbors, see what their success rate is, and once the internet is stable, then it's pretty good. It's getting it to it's getting the technician in the house, getting it set up correctly, and getting it stable. And once it reaches that stable point, then you're pretty good. For us, at least with Digital Delight, whenever we have clients that are getting some type of internet service, they usually have us out to their house, and I encourage other people to have a pro out at the house to take care of all that, because sometimes you just don't know and what to tell this guy or girl that is showing up at your house of what you really want. It's like, I want internet, but that's kind of narrow in really what you're trying to accomplish at your house, and they'll get you internet, but it's not really what you want. And so we'll come in and we'll be that front person to help navigate that path of getting exactly what they're trying to accomplish at their house.
Okay, a couple more questions just to close up here. So another one that came in on Instagram via the direct message. Excellent way to get in touch with the show. Can I upgrade my old intercom system? It's an old one, but I want to get alerts to my phone.
Yes.
Yes, you can, Terry.
Yes, you can. Go ahead on.
There's intercom systems still used a lot in larger properties. The wiring that's in place may be able to be used. There's other alternatives now. If it's old wiring that you just need power and they'll connect to the Wi-Fi, these intercom terminals, a lot of them now offer audio and video connectivity between the units in each room. Obviously, you'd want that probably to connect to either a front door or a gate station so that it's notifying you that somebody's outside. Again, that can be upgraded. The outdoor unit may need a hardwired Ethernet connection, but again, could connect to Wi-Fi. But getting alerts to your phone is just a standard feature now of these intercoms. If it was me, on my system, I'm quite keen on using some of the newer tech, like smart doorbells with touch screens. So maybe like, the Amazon Echo Show with the Ring doorbell, or the Google Nest Hubs with the Google with the Nest Hello doorbell, that kind of thing. I like that. They're really price friendly when you piece together like a 4-screen, one smart doorbell setup. So that can work out quite a very fun to use, easy to use intercom system as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I like being able to cast it up on my television. If you hear something outside, you can cast it and verbally say, "Hey, show me the front door." And so, yes, you can get on your little display that you might have, but if you have it hooked up correctly, you can also cast it up on your television and call it up pretty quick, which is a pretty slick way of watching your cameras. You know, we
Last question
yeah.
coming in from Dave from Lincoln in the UK. How do I improve night vision for my Nest outdoor cameras?
Tell me about that one, Gamble.
I would go with improving the your outside lights as an easy way. Maybe you've got a floodlight that should be turning on with any motion detected in the back garden. So that make sure you've got a new lamp inside your floodlights or your outside lights. Do they need a clean because they're not giving off enough light for the back garden? The camera itself may not have the greatest night vision, so I would say use some of the lighting that's on your building or in your garden, any garden lighting. But to get the best night vision, I would say use the IQ outdoor camera. It has got a much better performance on infrared night vision. And again, going back to the first question, give the camera a clean. That might be a first thing to try. Look at your outside lighting and maybe give that camera a nice clean of the lens just to improve the output of the infrared night vision.
You know, and the way that night vision works is they have these little IR emitters, and I won't get into too much detail, but at night it reflects, off. It's invisibly, it's illuminating the area, and so you want to try to keep that camera down. To 10 feet is probably the maximum height that we would mount a camera. It's also high enough to where you really can't get to it, unless you have a ladder. But 10 feet allows enough distance for security, but also allows it to give you some good reflection off of whatever is surrounding or down on the ground to illuminate that area for night vision. I've seen that as a good way to help create some good to help improve that night vision aspect. And that's almost a good rule on all outdoor cameras too, is that distance off of the ground. So yeah.
Okay, so that's 6 more home technology questions answered from our audience. We really appreciate all the questions we've had in this series. Moving it through the gears now, let's move on to a regular slot, one of my favorites. And I think one day we're going to edit these all into one big highlight reel, Cannon Fire and Gamble Ramble. So this week it's Cannon Fire. JJ, what have you got for us this week?
Mike, fire the guns. There we go. Hey, so this week we got, I was reading through one of our trade magazines, and I noticed that, we talk about nulls all the time, and we did a whole season of nulls, and I noticed that 4 out of our 5 nulls made the top 25 impact product list. And I was super stoked to see that, Gamble. I mean, you and I, we've been talking about these devices that are a little easier to do than what our highly engineered counterparts, and what we used to do and design for in the past. And so I was encouraged. I was happy to see that, it's getting some recognition inside of our industry that, we're kind of on the right path of providing reliable solutions that are easy to use. I say they're compact, they're minimalistic, they're affordable, yet people like them because you can do a lot of things with them. And so the 4 that I saw was, 1, Wi-Fi. You gotta have good Wi-Fi, and so they had Eero as one of the highlights in this top 25 product impact list. They also had the Nest, that Nest camera that you were just talking about, as one of those impact products. They also had the Logitech Harmony Pro remote, and for a long time in our industry, Logitech really was not necessarily part of the industry, and I am super happy to see it, start to be embraced, because it truly is a good quality product that works, and it takes a lot of that pain and frustration away, not only for the client, but for the business owner, for the for the technicians that are out in the field, and really helps improve the business model as a whole. So I was super happy to see it. And then of course one of our old school all time favorites, the Sonos. Well, all time favorites in the sense of a manufacturer, but the product that they highlighted was the Sonos Beam. And having that voice control built into it, having that audio return channel for audio sensing and quality of the audio return channel allows you to get the best quality out of your television or whatever you're receiving that audio from. So yeah, man, I was whenever I got the magazine and I started flipping through it, I was really happy to see that what you and I have been talking about and throwing out there to a broad audience of users, that man, we're guiding them down the right road, and really providing some, Gamble, whenever we started this, we talked about wanting to provide content that was impactful for users, that they really could embrace, that they could entrust us with what we're guiding them towards. And this is kind of one of those, for me, personal, like, yes, type of thing. So that's my cannon fire. That's it, man.
Good one. Yeah, I'll have to check out this article. If there's a link, we'll try and add it to the notes, and certainly on YouTube, we'll try and add that in the notes. So we had 5 parts to season 4. We had 5 episodes with Q&A. We've answered 30 questions in these 5 episodes, and it's been great to see the viewing figures, the participation from viewers and listeners. To the questions have come in, and like I said before, we know we've got a stockpile of questions. I think there was over 70 questions. We'll slowly get through them. Maybe we'll answer them online. Maybe we'll answer them on live videos. Maybe we'll drop the odd question in on upcoming episodes. But we're moving into season 5 from next week, and I'm excited about that. It's edging us closer to our coverage that we're going to be bringing you in late August, early September from Denver for the big trade gathering that's coming up in September.
Ooh, the expo is coming, man. We're going to have a good time. I was looking back at some of the videos that we did last year, and they were fun. I think we're going to run some of those as watch parties and, just kind of do a rehash and a refresh and a relive of what we did last year. And this year we're going to do it again and just have an amazing time. We're going to go speak with some manufacturers and people in the industry that are behind the scenes but are incredibly impactful to providing and helping us have some vision on how we design our systems and really influence us and help us think outside of the box, which I love. I'm all about, like, how can I be impactful but be a little bit different, and the expo always gets me fired up, to whenever I come back home, to really be able to provide some good quality solutions for our clientele. And one thing else, Gamble, last week we, Facebook, it just didn't go for us. And so we had like a 2-day delay in our video, and I want to say thank you very much for people reaching out and saying, hey man, where's the video at? And then also liking and sharing and following our content. You can always, if you can't find us on Facebook, if something's jacked up over there, please check out YouTube and look for us out over there on YouTube. As well as on Anchor. We are on 11 podcast streaming services. iTunes right now is fire hot for us, but Anchor, people, if you don't know about Anchor, drop Anchor in your phone. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. But, thanks, friends and followers, because we had another hit show last week, Gamble. My goodness, I was kind of down on myself. But man, looking at the numbers is like, holy moly.
Yeah, it's really encouraging when we see the numbers. Another that in the thousands and thousands of people that watched it is really gives us a boost going into the next episode and the next episode and the next episode. So yeah,
Super
thank you
encouraging.
everyone, and all the biggest thank you again to the Patreons, the people that put money in our pockets to help us make this, pay for the studio time and pay for the hosting and all the things that we're planning as well for the upcoming episodes. That's all, a lot of that funded from the Patreons.
Yeah, friends, and like we always ask you, please comment down below. Drop us a DM. Leave us a voicemail in Anchor. And if you don't know, find a pro. And until next time, y'all have a great week. Every month, the Digital Ramble will receive a regular source of income from supporters who've pledged through Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, having your ongoing support means we spend less time thinking about business and more time creating quality content for you.
Customized, based in Norfolk, England, are proud sponsors of the Digital Ramble. Check out our all set up services. It's smart home installation with ease. Customize.uk.com.
If you're looking to make your basic home smart, check out digitaldelight.com/shop, where they have a variety of different smart home technology solutions that help make smart home shopping easy for you. Check out digitaldelight.com/shop.